Fishing news is brought to you by Navionics, Okuma, and Yozori.
Spring has sprung, and finally some spring-like temperatures in the region as well. I'm Jim Hutchinson with the New Jersey Delaware Bay edition of the Fisherman magazine. Somewhere along the banks of the Tuckahoe River. Spring is definitely here, some buds on some of these trees. The Tuckahoe is a 28-mile black water river in New Jersey. It forms part of the boundary between Cape May and Atlantic County. It flows all the way down into the Great Egg Harbor Bay. And as such, there's a mix of holdover stripers, some up this river a little bit, also in Great Egg Harbor Bay. And of course, you also have that mix of the incoming ocean run stripers, which will be here any day as more of those herring arrive. I say more because I do have a report of some herring up the river. But the big news since last week's report was the arrival of bunker. Menhaden, lots of them too. In fact, this fish kill will tell you just about how many of them. Photo sent to me by Tom Driscoll up the Shrewsbury near Oceanport last week. Now, a DEP spokesman said predators may have driven that bait into the shallows where they died of oxygen deprivation. That's a little early for me to think that there's schools of 30-pound stripers chasing bunker up the rivers. But who knows? It also seems a little early to me for bluefish to arrive in mid-March, but that's apparently what Martin Ramirez reported back to the folks at Grumpy's in Seaside last week. If you have acres of bunker, why not bluefish as well? No doubt, though, everybody's got striped bass on the brain this time of year, and with this full week of 50-degree weather, the bite is sure to intensify along some of these rivers and bays, perhaps even along the front beaches too at some point very soon. Now, up along the Raritan Bayshore, Phil at the Tackle Box reported that Matt Calabria once again had that shop's first keeper-size fish of the season. Matt was using bloodworms soaked in finessence clam oil. I'm telling you, make sure you look for that finessence. Love the cheddar oil. On the Jersey side of the Delaware River, typically along the DOD stretch, that's where Don Ives caught his 28-incher under sunny skies, released that fish. Meanwhile, hardcore surfcaster Steve Polidor, he shared this video of one of many, many short stripers caught and released along that river stretch. Now, one thing Steve told me at the Philadelphia Fishing Show, one thing he likes to do at some point during the season is he takes his bloodworms and he wraps them up in a little bit of stocking, a little bit of a bait bag, if you will, to try to get away from those perch and catfish when they're around. Actually, Jose Ponce let me know he was fishing down in Great Egg Harbor Bay around Summers Point. He was looking for white perch. Couldn't get away from all those nuisance striped bass. How about that? Again, quite a few stripers in the back. The Mullica, Great Egg, the Toms too. Rob English shared this image from his kayak, not too far from here actually. Electronics on your car topper, towable, your kayak, significantly help improve your catch on stripers like this. Good to see all those stripers in those backwater areas. Now, the folks at Bucktails Outfitters in Mays Landing reported 41 degrees at the bulkhead there. That's good. They said fish are being caught everywhere. Jumbo bloodworms have produced. They've even heard of a few keepers as well. Now, the folks at Bucktails Outfitters also say some herring have been running. The stripers are behind them, leaving a good opportunity for you to catch some of those river rats on artificials like the Daiwa SP minnow, Yozori crystal minnows, or the jointed rapalas. Now, over on the Delaware side of the Delaware River, on the south shore, still a little bit cold. Eric Burnley says the colder temperatures are hampering the bite a little bit, but he did say there was a report of white perch caught near Bowers Beach. He did say as that weather starts to warm a little bit, maybe the next couple of weeks, more anglers soaking bloodworms and grass shrimp from Newcastle down to Broadkill Beach should be catching more white perch and hopefully get some of the reports of those early stripers on the Delaware side as well. For a quick spring checkup on the Keystone State action right next door, this week's Pocono Report with George, the Pocono Outdoors Guy.
Well, thanks, Jim. It is spring, officially, and the freshwater, open water guys are out certainly getting it done. Here's Eric Gutstahl with a nice largemouth he hooked up working a suspended jerkbait on some open water. Congratulations, Eric. The bite is definitely on. Now, for you trout guys, the Fish Commission is still stocking trout in all the lakes, creeks, and rivers, so you guys got to get out. Remember, March 30th in the southeastern counties, the season opens, and statewide on April 15th. I want you guys to check out the link below for the opener in your area. And for spring, like for me, it means shad fishing. Now, I was talking with John Augustine over at Hardcore Shad Fishing, and guys are starting to get on shad, although low in numbers. But them guys aren't quite ready yet to give up their little spots. But that won't matter in a couple weeks. So stay with us. There's a lot more coming on. From Pennsylvania, I'm George, your Pocono Outdoors guy.
Winter flounder action is finally starting to heat up a little bit more in central and northern Ocean County in particular. Folks at the Dock Outfitters in Seaside let us know that that area has started to turn on a little bit. That's good news. You just have to put in your time. If you're hunting for those winter flounder, you gotta be putting in your time. Like Mark Chamberlain here, who brought in another limit catch to Hook House Bait and Tackle in Toms River over the weekend. Again, the Toms River seems to be the epicenter of this striped bass and winter flounder bite as well. In fact, Nick Honicheski had lights out striped bass action earlier this week, and by midweek, he was back out there getting it done again with those winter flounder. Now, he wasn't quick to divulge his whereabouts, but again, I got to tell you, it's really about putting in your time when the schedule and conditions allow. Best time to fish when you can. This week's super worm equinox moon, a worm moon, how about that? Coupled with all this warmer weather this week could be what we really need to kick this action into high gear. It's perfect timing too. After sitting around on your coffee table, perhaps it's in your office, that March edition of the Fisherman magazine, we replace it with the April monthly edition next week. And of course, April begins all those weekly editions as well. You know, I met a lot of folks during the show season. They get the videos every week, but they weren't really aware of the subscription to the Fisherman magazine. 38 issues, $29.95. It's delivered every week from April through November. Dials you in on the reports, how-to information, where to, those hot spots, regulatory and legislative news related to conservation issues. Visit us over at thefisherman.com. Get your Fisherman subscription ready to go, especially before the Dreamboat contest kicks off in May. Also, if you're subscribed to us through the Fisherman magazine and getting these bi-weekly news alerts, don't forget to also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Every time there's a new Fisherman magazine video posted on YouTube, you'll get an update so you know what's going on. Look, spring has officially returned. Perhaps the bloodworm has turned as well. Get out there this week, make the reports, catch them up, and we'll see you again next week here at thefisherman.com.
Don't even mind that.